Take a moment, find your center. Establish your center, pick up your instrument. Like when playing tennis, you're waiting for the serve, come up to ready position. Stable, grounded, centered, relaxed, focused. It's not complicated, but it must become a habit. If we have to remind ourselves every time, then it's not possible. So you have to make the habit to be present. When you're playing sports, you have to be present. If you're not present, you get hit in the head with a ball. So what about in daily life? What happens in daily life if you're not present? Let's leave what it means to be present aside. What happens when you're not present? We all know that. How many problems that we're causing for ourselves by not being present? How many problems we're causing for other people by not being present? Same like in the sports. If you're playing on a team, and everybody else is present and focused and you're not present, you mess up the whole game for everyone. Do you want this? Do you want to take this kind of responsibility? So being present is not a luxury. Being present is the foundation of integrity. Sincerity, to be sincere. And to be present is not complicated. It's very simple, but it requires not effort, but like attention. It requires some intention, some attention. Like everyone wants to look beautiful, right? We're all, we're all so beautiful. So we give attention, make our face look nice, clean our face, nice clothes, then you look beautiful. So in the same way, if you give attention to presence, when you're present, then you have access to all of the resources. In the time to be creative, you can be creative. In the time to be serious, you can be serious. In the time to be playful, you can be playful. In the time to listen, you can listen. In the time to receive, you can receive. In the time to give, you can give. Naturally. It happens spontaneously and naturally because you're present. But if you're not present, then what are we doing? We're forcing ourselves to act in a certain way. Oh, I should be nice. Oh, I should be more creative. Oh, I should be more relaxed. Oh, I should be more patient. It's like some story in our mind that we're imposing on ourselves, forcing ourselves to act a certain way. But when you're present, it's like you have the whole toolbox. Whatever tool you need, you take that tool. And then when you're done with it, you put it down. A good construction worker, it doesn't need to hold on to all the tools at once. You know, all the tools are in the toolbox. Then if I need a hammer, you pick it up and you use it and then you put it down. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to prove that you can be happy. You don't need to prove that you can be loving. You don't need to prove it because it's absurd. But when you're not present, when you're disconnected, then all the time we want to prove it. We want to show it. We want to get recognition. So that's when you become a poser, faking it. All this Instagram posers. Not really happy, but it looks like looks something like happiness. Not really peaceful, but the picture looks like a peaceful something. So when you're not present, then it's only on the surface. On the surface, it looks happy, smiling. But in the deep level, no. But when you're present, then the joy comes from the deep level. The peace comes, the inner beauty, inner peace, inner wisdom. It's not on the surface. It's not fake. It's not like a costume. It's not another mask. Oh, which one should I put on now? Oh, I put on my happy mask. And then I put on my professional mask. And then I have all these masks. Which one? And I have to figure out which one should I put on now. No, when you're present, then spontaneously, it rises up from within. It bubbles up from within. This is the inner beauty. Same like when you're playing sports, high-level sports players are not thinking, which play should I do now? You've done the training, and you're in that flow state, and so automatically you're responding without thinking. It's not, oh, play A or play B, or am I supposed to, this guy goes that way, I go this way. No, it's not through thinking. You see, thinking is too heavy. Thinking is too heavy to be in the moment. So the high level of sports, it's not thinking. The thinking happens during training. But when you're in the game, if you're thinking about what you should do or what the last game or the next game, you're gonna get crushed by life. So if you're trying to approach the present moment with thinking, you're going to be crushed by your own mind, crushed by the false expectations of others, crushed by the disappointment of life not fitting the idea in your mind of how it's supposed to be. This getting crushed is not a problem. This getting crushed is grace. Because eventually it will soften you to where you can be present. So instead of needing to get crushed by life again and again and again, right, if you can train to be present, then life becomes a dance instead of a battle. Anyway, it's perfect. However it comes is perfect. If it has to come by getting crushed and suffering, that's perfect to bring you where you need to go. If instead you can dance with life, that's also perfect. For life, everything is perfect. It's not a problem. The problem is only for who? For me. Me. I want this, I want that. I like this, I don't like that. That's only for the me. So, presence is the foundation. Without that, it's just a joke. We're born, we die, and poof, and we make such a big deal about everything. So, you see, presence is essential. Even more essential than money in the bank. Because you have all the money, but no presence. Then what? You're miserable. It's empty. Who wants an empty relationship? Who wants an empty life, an empty house, an empty heart? No, but on the surface, everything's so beautiful, but inside empty. It's like double, it's like even worse. To have everything and everything is empty, to achieve everything and then to feel empty. And so what the yogis are saying is that you don't need to fix everything and achieve everything. Start with that presence, establish that presence, and you become like the king, like the emperor. Otherwise, you're a beggar. Even you have everything, beautiful woman, beautiful face, beautiful clothes, lots of power and money, but inside begging. Love me, approve me. We need other people to what's that word? To confirm me something. This is the king doesn't need anybody the king or queen doesn't need someone else to reassure them who they are. That is completely different. And so this is what we're saying. The foundation is presence. Establish that presence. Start with presence. Why not? Everyone says, first, I have to do these things. I have to do all these things. First, I have to make all the money, and I have to get the house. I have to have the wife, I have family. First, I do these things, then I'll be present. But has anybody achieved those things? Has anybody finished their checklist? Has any achievement ever been enough? Has any possession, anything, any attainment, has it sufficed? Right? No. No one. So what is the probability that I'm going to do it? This we have to consider very carefully. This is a game of probability. Right? Playing the lottery is probability. So people are playing the lottery, spending lots of money every day, playing the lottery. There's a chance that you'll win. There's a chance. Every now and then someone wins. Right? Playing the slot machine is a probability. Playing the casino, it's a game of probability. You might win. But what about achieving everything to the point where it's enough? What's the probability? We need to calculate that. It's very low margins, potentially zero. I don't know, is that an exaggeration? Have you met someone or heard of someone who has reached that level of success? And I'm not just talking in one field of life. They made a big company, made lots of money. But we're talking holistically. Because generally, to succeed in our modern terms, to succeed in one thing means to sacrifice everything else. Successful business person, but my family, I have no time with my family is falling apart. Successful at this, but now my health is terrible. Successful at that, but I have no creativity. I have lost my connection with my playfulness and aliveness. Body's totally stiff, like a walking, like a tin man. So how many people, if any, this is a question, serious question, because everybody comes from all over the world. Right, we have to consider, right, when you go to buy a car, you're going to consider very carefully how much you're going to go shopping different places. Where can I get the best price? What about this car? Everything. So whatever we do, we're considering. So what about with our life path? It's worth considering if the idea is I have to do this and this and this and this, then I'll be successful, then it'll be enough, right? Then I'll be good enough, etc. So who thus far has made it, if anyone? Right? And then we could then will I make it? Am I going to be the one, the pioneer, the first one to achieve everything that needs to be achieved to the point where I'm like, okay, it's enough. And then what happens? What happens when it's enough? When so you've achieved everything, it's enough, then what? Notwithstanding, as far as I can tell, no one has achieved it. Not that I've seen. I've met a lot of people. I've lived in a lot of countries. Everybody's still striving, pushing themselves. Everyone feels they're not good enough. Or some people think that they're the best, they're the greatest, but still, it's not, it's the same. So, okay, then you've achieved everything, then what? We have to consider, no, we're planning everything, but this most essential life path, the direction of our life, we're not giving it proper consideration. So this is a mistake. And so, no matter how you look at it, the only answer is presence. Whatever angle you come from. No, even you're dying, terminal illness, you're dying. What options are there? Presence. Because life is happening here and now. Life is not the idea in your mind. Life is not your idea about life. You have to see, there's life, and then your idea about life. There's the past, whatever that means, and your idea of the past. Is your idea of the past the past? No. It's like a haunted house, distorted mirror of a tiny little fragment of nothing. Your idea of whatever you conceive of the past is a tiny speck of dust within the totality of existence. Even what you consider about your personal past, the story that you construct about your own past, is a tiny distorted fragment of the totality, which is your own past. Now, what about the past of the universe, of humanity, of society, of whatever? Is your idea of the past the past? No. Not even close. It's so distorted, it's like unrecognizable. So idea of the past is not the past. Idea of life is not life. But you're torturing yourself with your idea of life. You're torturing yourself with your idea of the past. For what? When you go to sleep, you drop it. When you go to sleep, no idea of the past, no idea about life. You're at peace. So in the waking state, be like in the deep sleep state in the waking state. No idea. No idea about past, no idea about life. Does that change anything for life, for the molecules? Does that change anything at the molecular level? At the level of planets and galaxies? No. All of your knowing is simply a stress, a contraction, tension, expectation, frustration. So this is simply a bad habit. Human beings are so proud that we are so great and everything, but actually we're using our mind in a very remedial way, in a very brutish, like prehistoric kind of way. The mind has not yet evolved to the point like you're using a hammer. Like you grab the hammer by the wrong part and you just flail it around and hit everything around. That's a very kind of a unsophisticated way to use that tool. In the same way, modern humans, we think that we're so civilized and fantastic and everything, but we're using the mind in a completely unsophisticated way, in a way such that it is damaging, we're hurting ourselves and hurting the people around us because of improper use of the mind. And we think that we're so special and so fantastic, and that life is so stupid and dirty, right? This is the biggest joke. life is stupid and dirty. All the animals and insects are stupid and they're dirty. And we're so great, but we're strangling ourselves, suffocating ourselves, torturing ourselves with our own mind. What is going on? It's like a ridiculous joke that it's like an inside joke that nobody's in on. Each person in a cage of their own mind. The cage isn't even locked, but we're in there miserable. And you can see, because nobody else is affected by your own thoughts, your own idea about life, your own idea about the past. You're sitting next to someone, or that person lives with you, they don't see that. I mean, they experience it through your behavior and through your words and actions, but your personal story and problems and triggers is not affecting the people around you. They have their own. And so it's not problem of the mind, this is individual problem. Like a puzzle, you have all those complicated puzzles to work out. You must work out the puzzle of your mind. And it's not by finding all the right answers. It's by dropping them in mind. It's by understanding that it can't be understood. It's through surrender, not through control. Right now we take the approach of control. We want to control everything. Control life, control our thoughts, and control the people around. So then we have all these expectations and ideals. Right? This is really, every idea is an ideal. I'm imagining some beautiful flowers. Do those flowers exist? It's an ideal in my mind. Ideal. In the same way, I myself have become an ideal in my mind. I'm not the real me, there's an ideal. I should be like this. It's like the airbrushed. It's like the filters on the phone now. We don't exist as we are. We exist as an ideal, a figment in your imagination. And so, you never experience peace because life is not matching that ideal. And so what? Then I try to force and control life so that life will fit my ideal. Is it possible? We should consider very carefully before we spend our whole life trying to control everything. Can I somehow twist and by whatever, through whatever means possible, can I force life to fit my ideal? At the superficial level, maybe I have some temporary wins. It seems that way. Oh, okay. And then I get excited. But then what? Something comes and crushes that, and I become completely depressed and despondent. We have to consider, we should consider before we approach anything, is it possible or is it impossible? If it's impossible, then it's silly to waste the whole life doing that. But nowadays, I've seen very clearly, we're not doing things sincerely, we're doing things to prove we can do it. Look at me, I'm doing something difficult. I have worth, I have value. And so as a result, it's impossible to do, but anyway, I just want to show like a martyr, like look at me. I'm doing something impossible. And so maybe we get respect from other people, but inside we're crumbling, empty. So, what is the solution? Presence, to be present. When you're present, then you're in tune with the whole universe. At the microcosmic level and macrocosmic level. Without trying. Not trying to be in tune, not trying to do the right thing, trying to say the right thing. No, It's automatic. I don't want to be negative or mean, but if we're going to spend our life hunting, trying to attain something that's impossible or that doesn't exist, that would be silly, right? That would be kind of like a waste of time and energy and resources. So we should consider very carefully. If it's attainable, then go for it. But what if it's not? Then what? It would be silly to waste the whole life chasing after something that you can never get. That would be silly. It's not wrong. When you're present, life is always fresh. It's always new. There's endless discoveries. Even you do the same thing, you experience it totally differently because it's alive, it's real. When you're not present, oh, it's so boring. Life is so boring. Been there, done that. You just go through the motions. But when you're present, so presence is correct. Everything else is incorrect. That's why we recommend to dedicate a little time each day to train how to be present. To train to be present. There's no how. The squirrels aren't training how to be present. The fish aren't training how to be present. The birds, the snakes, the worms, the ants, the cockroaches even. But because of these years of conditioning and training to not be present, because of forcing ourselves, controlling ourselves, when did this start? When did this start? It started when you were an infant and you had to go to the bathroom, but it wasn't time. Your parents say, no, don't go to the bathroom now. It's not potty time. You wait. Or it's potty time, but you don't have to go to the bathroom. They say, no, you have to go now. Or you're hungry, but it's not eating time. Or the opposite, it's eating time, but you're not hungry. So what happens then? You're not hungry, but it's time to eat. So they give the food, and if you don't eat, they look at you angry faced, negative feedback. And so you feel inside, I'm not hungry. My internal signal says I'm not hungry. But this person that I love and trust is giving me the feedback that I better do what they tell me. So if I follow my own internal signal, I get the negative feedback. If I agree and do what they tell me, even though it's in contradiction with my own internal signal, then I get positive feedback. Eating, going to the toilet, and sleeping. 3 basic functions of life. So from infancy, I'm taught not to trust my own internal signal, but to act in order to please other people, to control myself, This is the foundation. Then we have emotions and everything. Not even talking about that. Basic level, eating, shitting, and sleeping. So because of this training, we need to undo this training. That's why we have the yoga. Otherwise, the mango tree doesn't need a yoga. Its life itself is a yoga. The sun doesn't need to learn yoga. The fire doesn't need to learn yoga. You are no different than the fire, than the sun. That which produced you is the same energy that produced everything else, 100%. The energy in the small seed that grows the tree and the plant is the same energy in the sperm and the egg that separated and that grew into you. The same intelligence, the same power. Not like a chimpanzee is 99% the same. They're 100% the same. There's no separate energy. There's no separate intelligence. So that intelligence which is active in everything is the same intelligence active in you. So what is meditation? What is yoga? Means aligning yourself with that source energy, that source intelligence, that source power. It's not an achievement. It's not a performance. It's not a competition. It's like digging a well. You dig the well, you tap into that. It's inside you already. No matter where you are, what you're doing, that energy is at the core of every cell. It's in your blood. It's in everything. It's permeating everything. So all that's needed is to properly configure, properly calibrate the system such that that is the leading system of energy. That is where the power is coming from. That's where the wisdom is. Not from your limited ego intelligence and your limited ego power, but you recalibrate such that the core is that essential life energy. That's it. That's all the practice is. It's not a big deal. It's not oh my God, it's going to take 15 years, I have to do this and that. No, you dedicate a little time each day to shift the underlying habit and pattern of how you relate to life, to yourself, to your body, to your heart, to your mind, to the breath, to the space around you, to the nature. When you properly put things in their place, then life takes care of itself. The grass grows itself. The water's flowing. The sun is shining. It's nothing. It's like that. That's why they say enlightenment is nothing special. It's not like Superman riding around and shooting flames out of your eyes and getting all the girls and the green lights. Always a green light, never a red light. You win every time. No. This is an ideal. The ideal of enlightenment has nothing to do with enlightenment. It should be clear. It should be clear. Even a child can understand this. But what's the problem is we've invested too much in the idea that we're going to win. We've invested too much our whole life. We've invested in this, and so it's like our pride is too strong to just give it up. We say, but I keep going, maybe it'll work out tomorrow, right? We've spent all this time in the ego trying so hard to prove it and to win and stuff like that, that in order to drop it, you have to have a tremendous, I don't know what that's called. Sincerity. Right? To admit that my whole life I've been going this direction is wrong. Right? Imagine you set off once upon a time, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and even though you understand very clearly this is not correct, it's like, I'm too much invested, let's see, maybe it'll work out anyway. So nobody can let go. Too attached, even if it's wrong. The same thing, you get into abusive relationship and it becomes habitual, you're used to it already. And with the worry is that it could be worse anyway. So whatever, you make some excuse, we can justify anything. But if you can establish that presence, then immediately everything changes. Your life changes 100%. Like you change the dial on the radio, the channel changes 100%. The old channel doesn't remain, not even a little smidgen of it. When you turn the dial, whatever the old channel was, it can't enter into the new channel. It cannot. Literally. It's a different tuning. It's a different frequency. It's impossible. I don't know how it's such a big pile of questions. We have usually so many people and there's no questions. You guys gotta be kidding me. These better be real questions. If these are fake questions, I'm gonna. All right. Tell us your favorite places to go in India and learn from the sages. Who asked this question? No, I need to be sincere questions. These are just general questions that might be good for people to hear. You already know the answer to this.
Yeah, but they were interesting, so I asked this in a little.
Okay. Well, the only place to go and learn anywhere is from, if you want to learn to play the violin, who are you going to learn from? Right? You want to learn from someone who's mastered the violin. Right? If you want to learn to play basketball, you want to learn from someone who has mastered basketball. Not an academic, right? Not a showy, industry plant, right? And if you want to absorb the wisdom of existence, right, you have to go to meet with the great sages and enlightened masters. We're very fortunate that we have, for example, Amma, who's still alive. She's about to turn 74, right? Her ashram in Kerala on the beach in South India, right? Where they have thousands of people living there. It's been there for like 40 years. It's super developed. It's like $7 a day to stay there with room and food. And they have everything and more, right? You can go, and she's there every day with people. Every day for like 8 hours a day she's out. Maybe sometimes even more. You know what I mean? So go to Amritapuri. Go to Amma's ashram. It would be like to be able to sit with Jesus when he was on the planet. It's at that level. Like, people think that enlightened sages was only thousands of years ago. That's crazy. Continuously on the planet we have sages at the level of Jesus, Buddha, etc. Continuously. There's no gap. There's never a gap. Some of them are well-known and have teaching karma. Some of them are completely silent. You'll never meet with them. Right? And so Amritapuri, that's number one. Number two is Tiruvannamalai, Tiru, in South India. That's where I just came from. There are so many enlightened sages who are alive there, and many who were there previously, and then many in the subtle body, living all around the sacred mountain. I've put together a Google document with more information about that. But you can go to Tiru, you can get a beautiful apartment in Tiru for like $200 a month. $200, $250, $300 a month, you have like a palace. Right, and they're giving free food, they're serving, because there's pilgrims who come to walk around the mountain, 14 kilometers. There's sages like Gangama, I have her books here, giving satsang 6 days a week and 2 days a week, twice per day. And there are people, you know, old timers on the path, people from all around the world, where you can marinate in this enlightened consciousness. It's not like a course. You can go to Rishikesh and take some, like, you can do a yoga teacher training. I don't never recommend that. Right? My recommendation is to go and sit at the feet of the great sages. But the good news is you don't even need to go anywhere. When I was first initiated in 1999, which was just yesterday, I was also given the teachings, the books, the teaching of the sages. When you read the book from the sages, their words are alive. So when you're reading the words, it's like you're sitting in their presence. The words are literally and it's not like reading from the academics, the words are alive. And so for the first 6 years before I met Krunamayama, and Krunamayi goes to the United States 5 months a year, every year. Right? She's towards the end of her tour now. She spends 5 months traveling the whole country and doing these 3 programs: fire ceremony, individual blessing, meditation retreats, and talks. Right? She's about to be in Chicago, and then she has Guru Purnima. The Guru Purnima is the full moon of the Guru. This is in July. This is this month, and end of the month, like July 28th, 29th. She's going to be in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, for 4 or 5 days. She's about to be in Cincinnati for 3 or 4 days. You know, but for the first 6 years, I just read the books. You have, see that library? There you know, the Gospel of Ramakrishna. You have so many. I mean, wow, we used to send, I should send that out here, note to self and note to Daria. We have, as part of what we used to send to the students when they left, a library of ebooks from the sages and enlightened masters with a suggested reading list. We should put that in the groups. We should add that. I just used to give everything and no one would look at anything. And I was like, well, what's the use of giving everyone everything if nobody ever uses anything? No, that is like, bird needs 2 wings to fly. One of the wings is your daily sadhana, means tuning yourself with the essence of life. The other wing is connection with the sages and enlightened masters. Even just reading a few sentences, right? I mean, gosh, nowadays, everybody's fake. Everybody's full of shit. What does that mean? Movie stars, can we turn to them for advice? Right, the sports heroes, like they're great at sports, but what does that have to do with life? The tech bros and investors and stuff, like the business people, right? Even spiritual teachers, I mean, like religious leaders, right? Everybody's full of shit. Everybody's dangling by a thread. They're held together by a thread. So where can we find the real inspiration? The real motivation is the sages and enlightened masters. Now, most people don't even believe that category of people exists. This is the problem. This is why for a long time I stopped talking about it. During COVID, we used to do, we stayed open continuously, first of all. That in itself was a feat. And I decided, okay, every week we're going to do a reading and a discussion on a text from the sages and enlightened masters. But you know what would happen? We would read it, and then the people in the sharing would start attacking the sages and masters and be like, look, you see this person's so selfish or so ignorant or so, and I said, I can't do this. So I stopped it. So most people think that the sage or enlightened master is a fairy tale. They don't believe it exists. But the proof is, listen, we know that we have, everybody believes in how to call this? In all the psychological disturbances, we have all kinds of, on one end of the scale, we have all kinds of psychological disturbances and problems. In fact, modern psychology is not based on a healthy individual, it's based on studying all the potential disturbances of the mind, right? And without a doubt, there's infinite types of that. So there must be, on the other end of the spectrum, those who are fully integrated, realized, and are operating in a far greater capacity. It can't just be that end, right? If there's that end, if this is possible, this must also be possible. Now, we don't have in the West a model for that, but I think people would probably point at like Elon Musk or something, but that's just another type of mental disturbance, right? He has a mental disturbance that that gives him like kind of superpowers in calculating things and stuff like that, but that's not an example of a well-integrated individual. So again, where are we going to find inspiration from? And that's why people have become atheist, agnostic like this, because like everyone's full of shit. We can't believe our parents are full of shit. Like my dad just drives, full shit. You know what I mean? Everybody's full of shit. And so, fortunately, I was very fortunate from a very young age. I mean, I felt like a lot of time had been wasted. I was 15, 16 when I had my mentor, when I started to read books from the Sages Enlightened Masters. I was 19 when I was initiated. And I was really upset. I said, I've wasted the first 18 years of my life. But that, what that did was gave me an incredible fire. I said, I need to catch up. And it took me like 6, 7 years. I'd wake up every morning like Sisyphus at the bottom of the mountain with a big boulder. I'd spend the whole day pushing it up the mountain. And I'd fall asleep. And again, I'd wake up at the bottom of the mountain. How is this possible? But I had a strong, not a faith, but I had a strong fire. In Sanskrit we call mumuksha. It's the fire burning for the truth. I said, no matter what, this is the purpose of life. I dedicate my life to this, whatever it takes. And I was fortunate that I grew up playing classical music, and I achieved a very high level of that. And how did I do that? By practicing and putting my effort and attention into it, by dedicating my time and my energy, my interest into that. I did the same thing with tennis, and then I did the same thing with foreign languages. Right? In high school, I was able to do that, and I saw, okay, if I put my energy into something, and I give interest to that, and I practice that, then, and so I just did the same thing with the spiritual path. And I didn't question it. I was also fortunate because when I was young, my parents had a very ugly divorce where it was caught in the courts and I was bouncing back and forth. And so I had a very strong detachment from any societal family expectation. And so I didn't feel any pressure like I needed to have a career, a job, or prove anything. And so I was, whatever I determined to do, I was fully determined on that thing. And then when it was done, I just dropped it and moved on to the next thing. I had a very strong detachment. It had to do with past life and my chart and everything and planets. I don't know. Before I assumed everyone was the same way and their minds functioned the same way. Now I understand that's not the case. But that's what I'm saying. It requires tremendous I don't know what to call that, because for me it was always a joy. Whatever I did, I was passionate about. When you do something you're passionate about, even if it's challenging, it's exciting. Playing music, playing classical music, traveling around the world, playing these beautiful pieces and symphonies, that's exciting. Playing sports like tennis or baseball, those were my main sports, tennis, baseball, and basketball. It's exciting. I look forward to that. It doesn't get old. Even you play the same game every day. It's like, oh, not a tennis again. Why don't we change the rules? No, it's the same game, but it couldn't be more different. It's exciting. Learning a foreign language. Oh my God. I would sit in my room. Yo hablo, tú hablas, él habla, nosotros hablamos, vosotros habláis, ellos hablan. Yo hablaba, tú hablabas, él hablaba, nosotros hablábamos, ustedes hablaban. Yo hablé, tú hablaste, él habló, nosotros hablamos, ustedes hablaron. Yo he hablado, tú has hablado. I would just just run through it, and the feeling of the words in my mouth. Wow, it's so exciting. Listen to those sounds. Je parle, tu parles, il parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle. J'ai parlé, tu as parlé, il a parlé, nous avons parlé, vous avez parlé, ils ont parlé. I would just run through these verbs. I would read the sounds. It was so exciting. Do you need the motive, the joy itself is a motivation. The joy of doing something you're passionate about. I never understood the force yourself to do something you don't want to for some future story or something. I didn't know, that wasn't part of my vocabulary. That wasn't part of my constitution. So I never had any problems. So when I was exposed to the teachings of awakening, and from the beginning that was what it was. It wasn't like a yoga class where I'm doing tricky choreography. It's like, wow, that never happened. I was also very fortunate because this was in the 90s. It wasn't a popular thing at that time or whatever. Also veganism. I had a friend when I was 14, 15 who was vegan. He told me about it. He was all about protecting animals. I think animals should eat animals, right? Life has to die. I'm not against that. But I had terrible gas, right? I could not digest dairy, and nobody knew about that in those days. And I never wanted to eat like fish or ham or anything like that. It would be like someone asking you to eat a piece of paper, right? If someone brought you a piece of paper and were like, do you want to eat this? You'd be like, no. Or a stone or something like that. If someone shows it to me now, it's not like I have to try to be vegan, try to not eat meat. It's like vegetables are so beautiful, and the fruit is so beautiful, and the flavors and combinations are so wonderful. So my life, I always had this strong clarity from within, and I was sticking to that because it would always, in the end, it would bring me where I needed to go. Not saying that it didn't have different challenges, but then I learned to like when my intuition would come and then I wouldn't follow it, then bad things would happen. And then I learned then when I get an intuition, I'd be like, okay, even though this is difficult, like for example, I'm with some girl and it's like, no, it's not right, bad relationship. And I'd be like, no, it's inconvenient to end the situation or to communicate these things. But if I didn't do it, the suffering I would have to endure afterwards got to the point where it's like, okay, I just need to listen. And so like that. So then I was trained by life continuously, even till now. Even now it's the same. Nothing has changed. My approach, the intensity, the passion, everything is the same. That's why I still feel like a child. Somehow, when I was on the spiritual path, I was always the youngest one. And so I was surrounded by these old timers, people who've been on the path for 30, 40 years. And to this day, I still feel like I'm the youngest one, no matter where I am. Even though it's not the case, now I'm almost 50 years old. But that essence hasn't changed at all. That essence hasn't aged at all. There's no age. That essence, that soul essence has no age, no time. And because I've given value to that my whole life over giving value to the superficial personality and societal expectations and obligations, then that's where I'm living from. I'm living from that place. And so it doesn't require effort for me. So normally I don't talk about myself, my story. Everyone knows that. I never share about this. But I think it's useful because I'm realizing that in many ways I guess it's unique. But that we all have that capacity, but it requires some unlearning. Some people say you have to be brave or you have to like this. I say you have to continue doing the stuff that's making us suffer. We have to be crazy to continue in that way. There must be another way, right? It's like, no, it's not to be brave. It's just logical. It's just rational. To continue sacrificing your soul and your creativity and your life to fit society and these expectations, when it doesn't work, right? When it doesn't work for anyone. I mean, temporarily it might work in one aspect of life. But then eventually it's just empty. It's empty and meaningless. So for whatever reason, this was natural for me in my life. Even growing up in the United States of America in the 80s, in the suburbs, I never got trapped in that idea or understanding. I was never, and even till now, it feels so foreign to me. It feels so foreign. So that's why. But then, how was I able to establish this as a way of life? Through the practice, the sadhana, and through the connection with sages and enlightened masters. I gave so much value to that. When I was younger and playing music, so I played classical music and I played in a prog rock band, like Dream Theater. It was like really complicated, kind of heady music. But I would go to see shows and I always wanted to be in the front and I always wanted to get like a guitar pick or a drumstick. You know what I mean? I got a drumstick from Rage Against the Machine. I went to see Radiohead when Pablo Honey came out. It was like 300 people at the Trocadero on the TLA. You know, there's the TLA. I saw Radiohead at the TLA on South Street. And there was like 300 people, and I got a pick from the guitar. You know what I mean? I was like, But then, when I discovered the Sage and Enlightened Masters, I wanted to be at the feet of the Sage and Enlightened Masters, and I wanted to get the relics from them. And so for whatever reason, you know, I had that strong attraction from the beginning. And it only grew. It only grew. And I don't really understand it, but I don't have to. And I believe truly in my heart that this is my family. Shortly after I was initiated in 1999, which was yesterday, and was given the practices, and then they said, do it, go and do it every day. And so I just did it. I was like, okay, why not? And within weeks, my breath would stop, and I'd shoot into these states of samadhi, full download of the universe. I could hardly contain it. My body was terrible. I would be in the hospital a bunch with all these unexplainable illnesses, but I'd be in such a state of bliss and love, like with full wisdom download of the universe. Blah. But I didn't understand what was happening also. But I would have visions of these like Shiva Bali Yogi, like that guy put up people with the jatas and beards in their undies, you know, and I was like, man, this is my family, these are my people. Like from the beginning, I had that feeling, and the feelings never left me. And now look at me. So that was 27 years ago, and I've had unbending I've been on this path continuously. I haven't reinvented my life from something to something. No, this has been a continuous stream. And look at all this has happened for whatever reason. And I never wanted any of it. I never planned any of this. I definitely didn't want this responsibility. I didn't want I didn't, many people are like, I want to start a community. I want to start, I never had that feeling. But this is my dharma. Not even mine. It's not about me. That's the thing. It's not like, oh, my dharma, my center, my teaching. I never have that feeling. It's the life. Life is at the center. I'm on the periphery. If I even exist. And so that's allowed me to continue to evolve and grow. Now I'm in I've had to play so many roles. Now it's a crazy role. You can't even imagine the role that I'm playing. So, Amrita Puri, Tiruvannamalai. These 2 places is enough. We don't need 100 places. Those 2 places is enough. Those 2 places, you can't miss it. Anywhere else you go, you get confused and there's commercial this and this and that. This is nothing commercial. This is 100% pure. This is the top, the cream of the cream. The best of the best. The enlightened sage is like, they say any enlightened master is like the mother, is a female, because they're a mother, because they're giving like the milk. The milk comes from the breast of the mother. No, the mama bird is chewing up the thing and spitting it into the mouth of the bird so that they can digest it. So the enlightened master, how can we access these ultimate truths about reality? How can you do it? You can't do it directly. You try to do it directly with the polluted mind, you twist it and you twist it. So, but when in the presence of enlightened sages, it's a transmission. It's at the cellular level. It's not like a doctoral class where you have to study information. The enlightened masters are nothing. There's nothing about not information. It's a transmission of at the level of consciousness through the silence. So, and a purification, bringing a total deep level cleaning and purification. You can't get that any other way. At least not that I'm aware of. One question. I used to answer 30 questions and then do lightning round and I'd answer them all. But one question's enough. If I answer one question, then it should answer all the questions. I don't know, let's check. But I think I've answered all the questions. That would be my first time, only taking one question. How did becoming a father change your inner world and your perception of the other world? So for me, every moment is a life-changing moment. Every moment. Before here, I was having a conversation with a guy there, life-changing. Then I had to go put on my shirt, and I talk with my son, life-changing. Then I come and sit here, and I go over there, life-changing. Now I'm sitting here, and it's life-changing. So every moment is life-changing. It's like an app or a program. Every now and then you have to update the program. But imagine you update everything every moment. Every moment, everything is updated. It's like that. Every moment, everything, the whole thing, the whole system, everything is updated each moment. Each moment is so significant. The ordinary moment becomes so significant because everything changes. With each experience, everything is reinterpreted. Everything is is integrated. Everything is, and so fatherhood really. Oh, that was the point. The enlightened sage of the masters is family. So really, I learned to be a son by being a disciple, by being a student. But also like this in this role, fatherhood is also every moment in relation to everyone. The main thing I can't say main thing. I don't have this superlatives, the biggest experience, the main. I don't believe in that. Because every moment, everything is updated with everything, even the ordinary moment. But some of the main things I learned was, one, this thing about forcing the child from a young age to this, what I talked about earlier, where we stop trusting our own signals. Because in Cambodia, they don't do that. When the kid wants to go to the bathroom, no matter what time or what, they'd let it do, they go outside. They just poop on the ground. And then they clean it up. It's not like sit on the toilet, oh my God, oh, you're doing it wrong. No, they don't put any pressure. When the child is hungry, no matter what time, they let it eat. If it's not hungry, they don't force it to eat. When it's sleepy, they let it sleep. If it's not sleepy, they don't force it to sleep. I didn't grow up like that. I was never breastfed. Not even once. And so that was major realization. Experience, but it's an experience. The other is sleeping with my son. Still the best part of my day. I used to talk about this every day, all day to everyone. No, I have had so many great experiences, and I continue to. I mean, so many beautiful experiences. I worked with languages as a linguist, diving into semantics, everything. I worked with gemstones, the most beautiful gemstones and precious metals, cutting these stones, creating, I worked in a garden. I worked as a chef, creating a beautiful food, everything. As a classical musician, playing beautiful music. I traveled all around the world to all these beautiful places, had many beautiful relationships with beautiful women. But nothing compared to the bliss of being cuddled up at night with my son, and just that vibration and that whatever's happening in that state. And to think that they demonize that and say like, oh, the child will be dependent, and it's the opposite. It's one of these bullshit hoaxes. So that was major. But even now, I'm just learning how to really be a father, how to teach and listen and learn. I'm learning every day. So it's not like I am that. It's like another thread within my life that's unfolding, and I get to perfect that. But I don't have any idea of being perfect or good at it. It's just like whatever arises, I fully embrace that in that moment. And then when I drop it, like often, it was Father's Day not that long ago, I forgot that I was a father. I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm a father. I totally forgot. I found myself, oh my God, I have children. So whatever you are, you should forget it. When it's needed, it will come. When it's time to be a father, then be a father. But then that which the lessons and learning from being a father influence and infuse in everything that I do, in every way. But I'm never caught in any particular role. Osho used to speak for like 2-3 hours in the morning and 2-3 hours in the afternoon, every day. One of the sessions he would do question answer, the other session he'd speak on a theme or topic. For example, like he'd talk about like Jesus, and it could go on for like 3 weeks. And then I'd switch and he'd talk about like modern psychology. And then he'd switch and he'd talk about like one of the Buddhists, like Zen Buddhism. Oh, so wonderful. So I could go for another couple hours, but I don't know that anyone can handle it. If there are any important questions, you can tell me later. Maybe we can do another session on the sound there, day 5. Can answer more questions if people want to listen. But I never feel like, I never plan anything, I never think anything. I immediately forget everything. And that's what they say, like in the moment you receive it, but then forget it. You eat food, imagine you have to think about that food forever. You eat the food, you digest it, it becomes part of you, and you keep going. So it's the same with wisdom. Don't make a shrine and a temple and worship, then you're forcing it. No, when it comes, whatever is true is true. That truth is not an idea. That truth is a way of life. You have to live with the truth. You have to live it sincerely. If you're really sincere, then you can do it. Nowadays, everybody is insincere. Everybody, I don't know what's the deal. What's the dealio? From when I was young, like 17, 18, 19, I used to be, when I was even younger, I used to never want to watch comedy. I said it was a waste of time. Why are people watching these comedies like this? Like Dumb and Dumber and all this kind of stuff. I've hated it. I hated that stuff. Later I could appreciate the use of comedy. But then, when I was 17, 18, 19, I used to spend a lot of time in silence, observing silence. And they had this thing where, especially guys, I don't know, women have their own thing, where they'd be putting each other down, like making fun of each other, like really mean and nasty, and it's just very insincere behavior, you know what I mean? Acting in a certain way, but in order to then make other people feel bad or something like that. And for me, it was very distasteful. It was very, 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 very hurtful, very shocking. Not that it was directed at me, but just to see that and witness that, I was like, wow, this is so gross, And it's just, we're taught to be insincere in order, to cheat and lie and be fake in order to get ahead. And for me, it's just so cheap. And so most people are lacking in sincerity. But if you can be really sincere, then life will come and support you, for sure. Life will guide you, life will lead you. The river will find its way to the ocean. So you have that sincerity, for sure, you can reach your goal. So this is the most important quality. Most people are lacking sincerity. Sincerity and integrity. This kind of go together. Without that, then nothing works. So let's take a moment to be quiet. Close your eyes, sit up tall. Take a few conscious breaths. And forget everything, like a blank piece of paper. Like you have a chalkboard, you erase everything on the chalkboard. Everything. The good stuff and the bad stuff. And just be quiet. For a moment, just be totally quiet. Nothing to prove, nothing to figure out. You are already here and now. You are already present. You just don't know it. The idea that something is better somewhere else. This is covering your presence. So just be quiet. Inhale deeply. Oh.